All right, everybody. My name is Alan Rendon, and we have
I'm Noah Trong.
And I'm Greg Monette.
and we're going to be going over the market analysis project on my multifamily in Tyler, Texas. And I'll be going over the productivity analysis, which I think is one of the most important components of the 6-step appraisal process, given the fact that this is where we're going to determine what product we're going to use. And we'll start with the physical attributes. Showing on the screen is an aerial of the subject located in Tyler, Texas, with an address of 527 West Irwin Street. It's 238,338 square feet and just under 5.5 acres. It's rectangular in shape and has access to all public utilities. And it's not in the floodplain, which means we don't have to worry about any physical restrictions or having to fill it up before starting the construction. And as far as determining the product, we decided it was going to be a 245 unit apartment complex or 45 units per acre. And I'll get into more detail on that in the legal attribute aspect. Showing on the screen is the zoning portion. And it actually has two different zonings located on DBAC and PMXV-2. They are kind of interrelated to each other. They both allow mixed use with a mixture of commercial and residential uses. They do prefer to have high density use, given the fact that they are trying to promote redevelopment in the city of Tyler, but they do have a limit on 50 units per acre, which is why I decided to keep the unit per acre at 45, just under it. And as far as setbacks, we only have a buffer yard to worry about. So it does look like our product is legally conforming with the city. And now we'll go over the locational attributes. The Census Bureau had a population of 106,985 as of 2019. There are a lot of different locational aspects here. It's located just across from the city hall and very easy access to a lot of different desirable amenities in the city. It's within a 3-mile radius of the UT Health Tyler's Health Center, the Christmas Hospital, and it's within a 1-mile radius of 3 different museums. And the zoo is also within a 5-mile radius, which goes to show that we are in a highly desirable area in the city. And showing on the screen is the map of the area with a bunch of different apartments available in the city of Tyler, and that's going to come into play when I'm delineating the market. And so with delineating the market, we have to determine where the demand is coming from and where the competition is located. With the demand, I decided to focus on the household incomes and the different employment factors going on. In 2026, the household income within the range of 35,000, 75,000 is going to be 36.5%. It's going to be the majority income group during 2026, which should give us an idea what our target market should be when delivering our product and what type of space users we should be going for. And I have a chart here from ESRI that has different location quotients from occupations, which helps us determine what's basic and what's non-basic employment in the area, which will help us determine, it's just another aspect to help us determine what our target market is going to be. And it looks like medical, construction, services and sales. In other words, we're going to put more concentration on medical and blue collar occupation aspects to to market our product. And then going over to location of competition, as mentioned earlier, there isn't a lot of competition for apartments in the area. In fact, most of them look to be outside 323. So that puts us in a good advantage in result to our competitors, given the fact that we have a superior location and higher desirability compared to our competitors. So we can use that to our advantage when it comes to determining what the rental rates, which will be brought up later in the presentation, and will help us put evaluation on the multifamily. And after that, I also decided to look at the sales prices of residential properties. The chart that you guys see is from the Texas Real Estate Research Center. The different, or it shows the increase in residential prices in the Tyler area. And just like everybody else in the country, we've seen a historic increase in residential real estate values. And so that puts the space users in a bind, because eventually some of them will have to be priced out of the market because they won't be able to afford those houses any longer. And so eventually they'll have to look at alternatives where they're going to live. And we decided the next best thing was going to be multifamily. And now I'll leave it to Greg to talk about supply and demand analysis.
So I'm going to talk about the supply and demand analysis. First, I'm going to talk about the changes in income, as well as the demographic change, population increases, and the economic development. So the median household income in Tyler is about $52,000, but is expected to increase to about $56,000. The current average household income is about $74,000 and is expected to grow about $81,000. So we're targeting a market of people that make about from 35 to about 75, and we'll go all the way up to 100,000 on it. So it's more of the affordable side. The current population is about 107,000, but is expected to increase to 112,000 in the next 5 years. The average household size is 2.53 and expected to go up to 2.54 over the next 5 years. And so based on those numbers, about 44,000 demand units are expected in 5 years. It's important to note, however, that per Tyler's economic development site, the city is expected to add about 14,000 jobs over the next 5 years, basically from the development of the medical center. And that's projected to increase the population about 15,000 people to about 123,000. So this chart right here is showing the ESRI estimates over 5 years. So that's more of a conservative estimate when Tyler is actually projecting the population to be up to 123,000. So the expected demand for multifamily is about 29%. So looking at the chart, in 5 years, we should have demand of about 44,000 units. Of that, if we take the 29%, 12,000 is expected to be for multifamily. And if we segment that and take out about 25% for high income and low income households, that leaves our multifamily middle income demand at about 9,200 units. And if we throw in a 5% vacancy, then our total adjusted demand for multifamily is about 9,700 units. And that's based on the conservative estimates. You can go up to the next slide. And the next one. All right. So the demographic indicators are pretty solid. As we mentioned, there's a lot of growth going around on the based on the medical, the development of the medical center, and our property is near the medical center. Job growth is really strong. October MSA jobs increased about 8% year over year to about 113,000, which is about an 8,400 increase. In addition, the unemployment rate for October decreased to 4.2 from 6% in 2020, which is pretty strong indicator that income and unemployment is pretty strong in the market. And next slide, I'll talk about the supply analysis, which includes the residual demand. You can go back one. So there's a total of 10,400 and I'll go back one. One more. All right, cool. There's a total of 10,400 units in the Tyler market, which of about 58% of that is 3-star, which is more of the affordable range. Those rents are about 1,056 on average for 2021. So our competitive supply is about 7,800 units, and that's basically 75% of the total supply, excluding the high income and low income earners, which exceeds our demand of 7,635 by 205 units. So in other words, we have about 1,800 units, a net shortage of about 1,800 units, based on the conservative estimates that were presented before. And so we have positive residual demand. So you can go over to the next slide. On average, about 86 demand units per year are needed to fulfill the current demand. And so you go over to the next one. So based on 86 units per year, at about 20 units per acre, the market typically delivers about 4 acres on average, but it's about a little bit more bullish, about 16 acres per year. And in the last year, it should be noted that approximately 32 acres have been developed for apartment units in the city. So, and based on the Tyler Economic Development Committee and, all the development going on around the medical center, we believe that the more probable estimate is about 15 acres a year to fulfill that need. You can go over to the next slide. About 15 acres is needed is the more probable assumption is about 15 acres. A more conservative approach, which is more historic, is about 4 to 5 acres annually. Most of these units have been smaller units, so there's been a mix of small 8-unit to 12-unit apartments, and there's also been some 100+ unit apartments. So the data is a little bit skewed, but based on our conservative estimates, about 15 acres, which is kind of close to what we're targeting, is reasonable given the demand. So I'll pass it on to you, Noah.
Thank you, Greg. All right, so we're going to move on to the market condition analysis of the proposed residential complex. This is what serves as a prerequisite to the marketability analysis done in the next section. Tyler has many great features we can consider that can make this plot of land valuable and therefore become profitable building site for both young and old families. With the advent of the new medical center, which is projected to be completed by 2023, it is supposed to bring in 18,000 new jobs and bring over $1.3 billion into the local area. One reason we believe that the project will be successful is the safety factor. In Tyler, the crime rate is safer than 12% of cities in the US. More of these crimes are usually property crimes rather than violent crimes. Per 1,000 residents, there are only 3.7% violent crimes and 30.03 property crimes. Here's a picture that helps demonstrate areas of crime rates. As you can see here, the darker areas represent higher levels of crime, and the lighter areas represent lower levels of crime, as you see here. Next slide, please. Another thing to consider is the supply and demand for real estate right now. The market has been in a crazy swing recently, with houses doubling in price due to the amount of demand that has been created in the market. In the past 12 months, many cities have experienced these price increases. Giving some examples, like in Austin, for example, there's been a 35.2% increase in listing prices, Las Vegas with 27.2%, Tampa Bay with a 21.8% increase, and Tyler is no different. In October 2021, the median listing price for homes in Tyler was just under $30K. This is an 11.1% year-over-year increase that the market has seen. This median price reflects the increased demand coming from the housing market, and it can also be due to a major move that people are making to Texas. It is estimated that over 80,000 Californians relocated to Texas in 2018 and 2019. This is largely due to the higher cost of living in California, especially in metro areas such as Los Angeles and San Francisco. It is estimated that the housing currently costs 59% more in California than in Texas. Not to mention the buying power increases a lot more here as well, with the houses being much larger and a lot cheaper. Nonetheless, the upward swing in demand can benefit our development by providing more buyers to the market. Moving to the next slide. Lastly, for the market condition analysis, I'd like to mention some positive externalities in the area that can help drive demand for new residential development. There are many features that can help improve the overall value of the property being developed. The first being the Caldwell Zoo. Caldwell Zoo, this location is approximately 2.3 miles northwest of the subject property, and it is a useful addition to the neighborhood by providing a family-friendly activity that is just down the road, especially in the summertime when young kids go out to school. For those who enjoy shopping, the Green Acre Shopping Village is only 3.4 miles away from the neighborhood. This is a great place for people to shop in order to access certain stores without having to drive to large cities such as Dallas or Longview. Another positive externality is that the local schools in Tyler. The district earned a B rating for between 2018 and 2019 school years, with Tyler Legacy High School being a 6A school, other options including private schools such as All Saints Episcopal School and St. Gregory's Cathedral School. Lastly, Tyler is a satellite campus for has a satellite campus for the University of Texas school system, better known as UT Tyler. The school has enrollment over 10,000 students on campus. The school is best known for its top-tier nursing program and high ratings of the public higher education in Texas. These positive rankings help the university act as a positive externality for the new development, as you can see as the map illustrates there. Moving to the next slide. Next is the subject marketability analysis. This part will take a deeper dive into how the specific market is expected to perform as it competes for the available market demand in the specific market. Here, there are three main things we are looking for. The first thing is that the target market user. The target market for the residential development is ideally first-time buyers who are looking for more fashionable and modern designs. These are typically younger couples or individuals in their 20s and 30s that are making a leap from renting an apartment to building equity ownership in a home. This is more likely the largest purchase they have ever made in their life so far. So finding an affordable home that meets their budget is especially important to them. The next step is a process that is doing an actual market sizing exercise to help quantify the research of our ideal target market. We can start with the population Tyler, which is approximately about 105,000 people. And we can use that as a total addressable market towards our total addressable market number, or a TAM. This includes people of all ages that can buy a house regardless of their current living situation. The next step would be to estimate our serviceable addressable market, or SAM. This is the group of buyers we could realistically capture in the market. This would be the individuals over the age of 18. When subtracting the population under the age of 18, we get about 70%. We multiply the 70% times about the 105,000, which is the estimated population of Tyler, we get approximately 73,000 people. Lastly, we have a very specific identity, the serviceable obtainable market, or the SOM. 52.9% of real estate in Tyler is owner occupied, and the number of households making over $200,000 a year is about 7.4% in Texas. So we multiply that $73,000 we got previously times 52.9% times the 7.4%. And this gives us our customer base is approximately 2,871 people. To the next slide. So here I made a market sizing numbers a little bit easier to understand in this diagram. We can start by the total addressable market and work our way down to the serviceable addressable market, and then finally the serviceable obtainable market. And this is just a graphic to help visualize that a little bit better. Next slide. So the last part of the subject marketability analysis is the competition factor for the proposed residential development. Those that are looking for new houses are more likely to be looking at nearby neighborhoods called the Azalea District in the downtown area. This is an established neighborhood filled with historic homes with different designs. The listing price for these homes can range anywhere from $200,000 to $1 million, depending on the size of the home and location overall. To differentiate from the competition, we have identified a few competitive advantages. First off, we will be delivering a modern design that is much different from the Azalea District. It will take a different approach in a location, mainly fulfilled with traditional or historical looking homes. Second off, we will provide more affordable housing for younger individuals can access without breaking their bank. Having a decent sized backyard, able to fit in pools and plenty of rooms for kids. This is especially true when considering the large move that many people can make when making the move to Texas from out of state. I think when considering our main competition, our development will remain profitable given its unique research to capture the market in Tyler, especially in times of high demand. And that concludes our presentation.